Romans 10:2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. Call halal Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered among the heathen nations, that look like the heathen, among the heathen. And to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. And this is a brother from Rethinking the Dollar. You know, I've been watching him for years. A lot of brothers have been watching him. I know the Apostle Tahar watches him and has done a couple videos. I also know that a couple brothers have called into his show in past times to let him know he's a Hebrew Israelite. And someone does it in this very video. But this brother is not taking heed to the gospel. He's trying to push that universalism. All right. And the scholars, this is something, some information from the Zondervan's Dictionary Bible. This book right here. The Zondervan's Compact Dictionary Bible. Because he's going to speak about the kingdom of Israel, and he's speaking about the chosen. And, you know, if you want to, anyone who doesn't have this is, when you look up the election or choice selection, all right? And that's talking about the elect of Israel, not even all of Israel, but the elect of Israel. So if you want to, you can freeze frame what you should do, especially if you're new, is screenshot this, all right? And keep it for your records, all right? Because I'm gonna start reading at the second paragraph there, right here, from the highlighted area, and it reads: when election refers to salvation, its objects are individual men. The concept of universal election is foreign to the scriptures. Rather, a particular election only is taught. So the churches teach universalism, and then they gave you Matthew 22:14, John 15:19, Romans 8:29, Romans 9:13. Matter of fact, Romans the 9th chapter clears all of it up. The entire chapter gave you 9, 13, 15, and 18. All right, we're gonna read those, and I'm gonna start with Romans 8:29. So let's go to it, and then I'm gonna let some of this video play. Let's go to Romans 8:29, and it reads, for whom did he foreknow? He also did predestinate to confirm to the image of his son, that might be the firstborn among many brethren. So he foreknew them. They were predestinated, meaning they were already chosen since the foundation of the world. It tells you that in Jeremiah, the 1st chapter, and in Ephesians, the 1st chapter. It tells you that. All right. Those are two good chapters to read, talking about the Lord's chosen, his elect. All right. Because not all Israel is Israel. There's an elect even among Israel. The 2/3 of Israel are already marked for destruction. They'll receive the blessings when they're born to their in the kingdom of heaven, right? When they're brought back through sex. And we have a saying, you know, what's the thing? LOL BVVS, laugh out loud, but very, very serious. All right, and that's about being a nutsack Israelite. You know, though, because of the 2/3, that's exactly what they're going to be. The wicked of our people that are going to be destroyed on this side, they're going to be born into the kingdom perfect. All right. And, you know, we don't want to go to the kingdom that way. We're striving to go to the kingdom on the first trip, which is what he's talking about, but he's not taking heed to the messages that he's been given. All right. So let's go to Romans now. What was it? 13, 15, and 18. All right. Because this is right here is proven that I love. Matter of fact, let me put it back on the screen so I can show it again. The scholars are letting you know that Esau, Edom, there's a race of people that's still here that has to be here to be judged, to be rejected by the Lord. All right. They're not done away with. That's another, just like universal salvation is taught in the Christian churches, that white Christian extremism. They also teach that Esau is not done away with. And why, that Esau is done away with. And why is Esau done away with already? That's a perfect doctrine for them. All right. But that's not so. You see that in the list of scriptures is Romans 9, 13, 15, and 18. So we're going to read all of those. All right. So they're letting you know that the scholars are letting you know that Esau has no chance for salvation. This is Romans 9 and 13. And it reads, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. All right. Jump into 15. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. The Lord's ways is not our ways. His ways are above our ways, and he chose Israel, and only Israel. All right? The other nations have no chance for salvation at all. All right? Verse 18. Therefore, he have mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will, he hardeneth. So he's hardening himself toward Esau, Edom. All right? The rest of the nations will be the rest of the heathen nations, meaning out people who are just not Israel, all right, will be given unto Israel as a heritage, meaning we're going to rule over them forever and ever and ever. That's the kingdom of heaven. So let's let him speak, and then we'll, because this is about the 56-minute mark in a 109-minute video, an hour and 9-minute video. So I'm gonna let him talk from this point on for a few minutes, and then we'll bring in some scriptures.
My call for my people out there, I'm saying, like with what you put the most effort and work into, will it benefit you in the life after? Is what I'm gonna leave with you guys today. You know what I'm saying? That's where the Lord checked me on that. So I'm gonna just pass it forward. The work you're doing now, can you say it's enough to carry you into eternity? Meaning that it's done in love for your fellow man and in honor of our King, so that when your reward is handed down in the life to come, he can say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of stuff I'm trying to go towards. So that's just me. Anyway, I rant too much. Let me get this last call. But I want these rants to carry eternal weight. And the only way I can do that is if I mention the King. Hello, callers. Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Mike? How are you?
Doing well, my man. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Frank from CT.
Frank from CT. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just wanted to touch up on what you were saying earlier about the Rothschild banking system.
Okay, give it to me.
Well, since the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, even before that, banks, there's the Rothschilds. They had the first Federal Reserve Bank. It was called the First Bank of America.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, right?
Yep. But that was
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then that one of the presidents or the people rebelled, and they got rid of the banking cartel with pitchforks. While after, people have a short memory, they had another bank called the Second Bank of America.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of the presidents.
Andrew Jackson.
Was it Jefferson?
Jackson. The $20 bill, man.
Yeah.
The Native American killer.
After that, he got rid of that, and then all of a sudden they didn't want people to catch on to it, so they called it the Federal Reserve.
Right. Yep.
And the Rothschild, they're the ones behind it all. They're the ones with all the money, and they pretty much have all the, all the banks, central banks. They're pretty much under their thumb.
Yeah.
They got the shareholders and stuff, and other banks that on the books show shares of the bank, but they're pretty much behind it all.
Right.
And they're pretty much pushing this whole agenda. Everything's done through them. The banks pretty much run everything.
Right.
Okay? The presidents are all puppets. Banks pretty much run everything.
Right.
And the Rothschilds, they're the ones who created Israel.
Right.
Did you ever hear of the Balfour Declaration?
Yep. It was brought to my attention. I think somebody mentioned that maybe a couple shows ago or something like that. I think it was. Yeah. So I learned something new from the audience all the time. So that's why it's important to connect with people who think on the same wavelength as you. So I appreciate you, man, for calling in.
Sure. So let me just add on to that.
Yeah.
So England, just to touch up on that, England, the Rothschilds said, listen, England said, listen, we currently own Palestine, and we have it we don't own it, but we have it under our control.
Mm-hmm.
If you get America involved in the world war against Hitler, we'll give you Palestine. And that's how it all started, at the creation of Israel. And you can see even on a video clip, Rothschild, he boasts about the creation of Israel and about the creation of the Balfour Declaration about his family.
Yeah, I think I might have seen something, but if not, are you in the Discord or Telegram?
Telegram?
Yeah, so the social media platform. If you're there, go ahead and join them and then share those videos, man, so we can see them. And that's why I usually
to see what happened right here is he began to get a little nervous because he's heard this before. You could tell in his mannerisms and the way he was trying to handle the caller. He was trying to dismiss the caller without being rude because he can see where he was going, and he didn't want this information to be broadcast over the airways. He really didn't, and you can clearly see it.
Grab stuff from and I share it as it's passed on to me. So
because he's trying to tell him, hey, well, take that over to our other platform. That's what he's trying to say. All right.
The best way is if you are connected to those social media platforms, Telegram and the Discord, join the community and share that stuff as you come across it. So as you educate yourself, just go ahead and pass it on to us, man.
Yeah. So one more.
But the caller's like, yeah, well, anyway, let me finish. Dropping this dime on these Amalekites.
So the Jews over there in Israel, a lot of them follow the Talmud, and I don't know. I know Steve from Region 9 touched up on this.
Now, I don't know what he's reading, but, if there's other people on there with him, advisors or whatever, but it just seems to me he's getting very nervous as this man is speaking. But this man is speaking the truth.
A little bit. Mm-hmm. It's a very evil book, man. These guys that's the synagogue of Satan over there, man. Israel is the synagogue of Satan. These are very evil people, and they're pushing this whole agenda. They pretty much... What they did is they used up England, got England in debt after all the wars, and they jumped on They jumped on something else, another parasite, the USA.
So Britain and America were both parasites, and they are.
They made us fight all these wars, all in the Middle East, to destabilize it for Israel.
Yes.
And got us $30 trillion in bankruptcy. And now they're moved. They used us up, washed us up, used us all up, and now they're jumping on another host, which is going to be China.
Yeah.
They're moving over.
Which is why they're dropping the dollar. Is the Israelis are dropping the dollar, but yet America still seems to support them. The Israelis sent troops over to Ukraine, and the Ukraine troops that are fighting are Nazi troops. So, explain that. All right. They're done with America. America is getting ready to be a prison state until the Lord comes to destroy it. But let them continue.
To China now.
Yeah.
So Israel will be buddies now with China. And they're going to do the same thing they did to us.
Yeah.
Use us for war, use them for wars, run a lot of money, with deficits. And that's the next host they're going to jump on.
Yeah.
They're parasites. They're running the whole thing.
Hey, man. But no.
He's like, man, come on, man. Shut up. Let me get you off.
Who rules over you is one you cannot criticize. It's something like that. to learn who rules over you.
Right.
Who you cannot criticize.
Right, which makes sense because, censorship is very heavy on people who get close to the truth. So, but hey, man, appreciate your call, my friend. Thanks for your insights.
No problem, Mike.
Be good.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
So my man was not taking the bait and was not taking the hints. He wanted to get that out because he was trying to dismiss him before he said too much. But he said enough. And then this guy's gonna go on talking about everyone and the kingdom and coming to the Lord, and he's speaking about it. You can watch the video. It's a video that he went live on yesterday. This is Rethinking the Dollar. All right, so you can just pop on Rethinking the Dollar in this video. When you go to his channel, it'll pop up. But he's talking that universal stuff, and salvation is not universal in any way whatsoever. It's not. Let me go back to Romans here. This is Romans 9, and I'm going to start at verse 1, and it reads, I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing witness in the Holy Ghost, meaning it's telling the truth, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart, for I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. So he's saying he wished he could have took the brunt of it, all right, for his kinsmen, his brethren, according to the flesh, because Paul, though he was a Roman citizen, because people would like to take that and say, oh, well, he was a white Roman. That's been the Christianity lie, white Christian extremists lie, plantation Christianity lie. But Paul was an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin, all right? And he tells you that very clearly in the book of Romans, all right? So it says, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, being brought back to the Lord, converting, all right? You can't be brought back or convert back to something you were never a part of, all right? And the glory, which is the kingdom, and the covenants, new and old, is for the Israelites, all right? And giving of the law. The law was only given to the Israelites. There was no other nation there, at the mountain when Moses came down and gave the law, all right? And the service of God and the promises. The promises is the kingdom, all right? And they're going to be the service of God, the Lord's new government here on earth. That's the kingdom of heaven. The 144,000, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes. You can go read about that in Revelation, the 7th chapter. All right? They're going to be the services. They're going to be the governing government over all the nations of the world. All right? And they will sit in councils like the UN and it does in the EU today and decide the fate of these other nations when they don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. All right? That's when it talks about how Jacob is going to teach the heathen. That's how it's going to happen. The judges are going to enforce what does the Lord's Prayer say? It says, on earth as it is in heaven. The laws of heaven will apply here on earth. There'll be no more alphabet lifestyles, no abortion clinics, and all that other stuff. All that stuff will be gone. All right? It says, whose are the fathers, and whom as concerning the flesh Christ or Hamashiach came. The Lord came for the flesh of the elect, all right, who are Israelites, who is over all, God bless forever, amen. All right, so it's simple as that, man. That Romans, the 9th chapter, is the end-all, be-all to exactly who the Lord is coming to save, etc., etc. All right, who's going to be the new government, and that is what they're trying to stop. Okay, they don't want that to happen. This is Revelation 1 and not 1, but 20. No, yeah, first chapter. Two. I keep saying 1. It's Revelation 2 and 26. And I'm gonna read to the end, and it says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over nations. That's the one who's going to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. to those who keep the Lord's works unto the end, and then they're going to be given power over all the other nations. And you can read about the other 17 nations in the book of Genesis, the 10th chapter. Salaki, in the Genesis, the 10th chapter. All right. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessel of a potter's shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So we're going to break them into pieces, because they're not just going to roll over. They're gonna attempt to resist, but we're going to have so much power that they're not going to be able to resist. They're just going to get, broken into pieces. And then they will submit unto our ways. All right. And then there'll actually be peace on earth after that. Okay. And it says, and he shall rule them with the rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I receive of my Father. So, and the Lord is going to do this, but the Israelites, the elect, are going to be joint heirs with him, because he talks about being a joint heir. The heirs are the rulers of the universe, rulers of everything under Yahweh Shai. All right? It's going to be who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahweh. He's given all power and authority unto his son, Yahweh Shai, who is our king, our savior, and then we're going to be joint heirs with him and co-rulers with him under his authority. That's what the Bible talks about. All right? And they said, and he shall rule them with the rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I have received of my Father, and I will give him the morning star. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. So this was to the 7 churches. All those 7 churches were Israelites, not heathens. All right, and those 7 churches are represented by the men of the great millstone and the men who teach the likewise doctrine today. Okay, all the prophets are back. The Lord speaks to his prophets, and the prophets are back, and they're speaking. We're going to close out with Psalms. This is Psalms 2. And I'm going to start at verse 1. And it reads, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Like this whole lie about this universal salvation. The heathens are going to be servants to the Israelites for 1,000 years. Point blank period. For double the time we were in captivity in this last captivity. Because all these nations, the other nations, their leaders, their elites know who we are. And they all conspire together. That's what the United Nations is all about. That's that assembly of heathens in Psalms, the crafty council, in Psalms 83, so that the name Israel be no longer in remembrance. All right. If you notice, the Israelis, they don't use the term Israelite. They don't use the Paleo Hebrew. They use the Assyrian Hebrew from the captivity. All right. And then they added all these vowel points and dots to it. They don't even speak Hebrew. They're speaking a mixed language using Hebrew characters. All right. So to the unlearned heathen, it appears that they're actually speaking and writing in Hebrew. But the truth of the matter is they're not. All right. You got a German and Slavic admixture into the Hebrew that they're speaking. That's why a lot of Germans can half understand what the Israelis speak, because they really, they're speaking that Yiddish, there's and that Yiddish admixture to the Hebrew, all right. And Germans can understand a lot of that language because they're of the same stock. They're not Israelites. They're not of Isaac. They're of Edom, all right, of Isaac's of Jacob's twin brother Edom, all right. And it says back in Psalms 2, verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against the anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords that sitteth in the heavens, and he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision, and he is, because they cast away our cords, and the Lord punished us and brought us on the bottom, made us the base. All right, then he took the bases of man, which is the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, and made him ruler of all things. But now he's taking it back from him. All right? And I'm just going to jump to verse 7. I will decree the decree that Yahweh have said unto me, Thou art my son, this day I have begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost part of the earth for thy possession. We're going to possess everything with Yahushai. So with that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash, Wa Abba Babal Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.